Slightly different, and Daniil comes back and forces the fumble on the sack. 3rd and 3, it's Will Anderson, plus 40, and it's the sack coming in. And that's what we'll look to have here, placed out well for defenses. It's been really a defensive game, though. Kenneth Walker is gonna take this on one play. How many times? Just send the 4 and it will hit. A ball pops out as well. A second straight read option. Battle forces the fumble. We jump on it. Some slant routes. See if we can find Smith, and that is a lead. Ritter once again having to bounce around as Anthony Jennings. Throw, we send the blitz. They block it up well. Get it out to Kenneth Walker, who levels it. As it's thrown up and intercepted. Longtime vet. He sends them through. And after we were just unable to, well, keep the Giants from scoring inside 2 minutes left, and we did nothing in the overtime, it's the Giants that would actually go on and win the Super Bowl this year, 42-31. And that leaves us with one final season in which we've got to win the Super Bowl. Otherwise, this will be another failed challenge, even though we've made the playoffs in 3 of the previous 4 seasons. You can see the yearly award winners over on the right-hand side. It does not list any of us, but we did actually have some win for the NFC side. On top of that, we had essentially the half of the NFC Pro Bowl was all guys from our side. I mean, offense was stacked, defense even had some guys as well. But ultimately, despite all the great players we have, we still have yet to win the Super Bowl. We've yet to even get by the divisional round, where we keep losing each and every time. So hopefully this season we find ourselves back in the playoffs. But as we are getting started, we will not be going through the typical full set that we normally do in these videos, where it's the full off season and the full regular season. I'm a little bit under the weather, so it's going to be the entire off season and up to about week 8. Then we'll finish off the rest of season 5 regular season on Saturday, and hopefully find ourselves next Wednesday back in the playoffs. But as we get fully rocking and rolling here, we start with re-signings, because we did not have any retirees, and there's definitely some guys here at the top we need to lock down, that is for sure. And I think I did miss getting Landon Dickerson on the Pro Bowl. We also had him. Again, so many Pro Bowlers, but let's just start from the top here. Josh Jacobs. Had to put him on a franchise tag last season, and it looks like we should be able to sign him. He has a lot of interest in coming back. I'm just going to go ahead and offer him this deal here, 3 years. It's a lot of money per season, and he does like the deal, and he will sign. Now we also have Mac Jones, who is wanting a contract. This is take up a good bit of money as well, but he is up now to a superstar after being one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. Again, he has a good bit of interest. We'll boost up the bonus a little bit here. This is a 4-year deal, obviously not going through all 4 years, and he loves the offer. So that is the 2 big ones done, but we still have Jerry Jeudy, who does not have much interest. Landon Dickerson, one of our best offensive linemen. Jordan Battle, really good safety for us. Again, not a lot of interest. I'm kind of surprised that some of these guys don't have a lot of interest. A lot of work to do in this part of free agency, close free agency. Going back to Jerry Jeudy here, would like to lock him down. We'll offer a deal here. I don't expect he's going to take this deal, and indeed he wants to head to open free agency. If we were to look to franchise tag him, that would be a near $22 million deal. Plus, there's several other guys that we need to take a look at prior to Jerry Jeudy. First off, being Landon Dickerson once again. He has some interest. We could bump up these numbers. We'll probably actually lower the salary, bump up the bonus, try to save a little bit of some cap, and he will sign that one. Now, for these guys that just don't have any interest, we'll come back to at the end after trying to get all the guys who do have interest. Fortunately, Jonathan Allen doesn't either. Ty Barlow, he was a Pro Bowler for us last year, and he's looking for his 5th-year option. So we could definitely take that. Gerald Everett, try to bring him back for another year. So let's go ahead and accept the 5th-year option for Ty Barlow. We'll come back to those guys. Gerald Everett has some interest. We'll bump up the bonus a little bit here. That's going to leave us with about 35 mil, and he'll sign that one. Now, eventually, we're just going to have to say no for now, and I think that's going to come in with guys like Irv Smith Jr. So we will end negotiations here. Doesn't mean that he's not going to come back. Ryan Williamson could be great depth for us, but we'll see what all of our options are in open free agency. Jarrett Stidham, he's the only backup quarterback we have available to us, so we'll offer a deal, and he'll take it. Now, Deshaun Hand, he does have interest, but he's been regressing the last few years. Didn't see a whole lot of playing time last year. We'll move on from him for now. Same for Rashaan Evans, former starter, now backup. And Carl Lawson, honestly, same thing with him too. See what our options are in open free agency. Reed has regressed a lot, down to a 70. Landon Collins down to a 63. We'll move on from him as well. CJ Mosley, I would have interest in bringing in as a backup once again this year. And Daniel Carlson, we could look to bring him back. He was all right, not as good as his brother though, surprisingly. $6 million deal, but he wants to test free agency. So that is now leaving us with $35 million exactly to try to re-sign Battle. If we wanted to franchise tag Jerry Jeudy, we could. Evan Neal starting offensive lineman, Jonathan Allen starting defensive lineman. Let's see what we could get done here with these guys. So if we go after Allen, that's going to take pretty much all of our money right out the get-go. If we raise up the bonus here, lower the salary a little bit, he wants to play for a new team next year. Now the franchise tag on Allen is actually more expensive than Jerry Jeudy. That's closer to $27 million. And that leaves us with the last offer we can make here for Evan Neal. Again, we'll raise up the numbers a bit here, 2-year deal, and he actually really likes it, so he will stick around. Now, unfortunately, that only leaves us with $20 million in cap space, so we wouldn't be able to put a franchise tag on Jerry Jeudy, nor on Jonathan Allen. So, Jordan Battle, what can we do here? He would be our final bit to offer. A decent deal here, leaving us with about $11 million in cap space, but again, he wants to test. So all in all, it was not a great closed free agency for us. We're low on cap space, and we definitely are missing some big guys. I mean, 3 starters for both the offense and defense combined. Now, if we take a look on roster, do we have guys to fill in the spots that are now empty? At receiver, we do have Mechie III and Ridley, and I feel like combined with them as well as Tolbert, maybe even a little of Sims, we should be able to deal with Jerry Jeudy not wanting to return. I already checked the open free agency, and he has a lot of offers coming in, and we don't have much cap space. So we have guys who might be able to get the job done here. At safety, we have the other Battle, who's been a backup in Marcus Battle, and he has zone coverage. He's 85. He's got some speed. He could do well at free, though we also have Minkah Fitzpatrick that if we need him to play free safety, I think he could do that very well. We might just have to see maybe some rotation at that spot. The one area that I am concerned with is the defensive tackle. More so, a specific rotational spot for the defensive tackles. We have McIntyre and we have Young. Both are pretty good run stoppers. They have some decent strength combined between the two. 98 and then 83 should balance out. But neither have any sort of pass rush ability, 66 power and a 65 power. So we really don't have someone who could rush the passer from the DT spot. And without having to spend money in open free agency, our only option, and I mean only option, there is only one to try to fill that spot, is around 1-2 in Marcel Cheeks. Out of Alabama, he's 6'1", 298. They say he's a run stopper, but the power moves is a higher grade B compared to the block shedding that's a C, with finesse also being a C. So maybe he would be able to provide some form of pass rush there, but that would be having to take him in the first round, as we are, I want to say, slated with the 28th pick in the draft. And if we were to do that, that would mean that we don't go after guys like, not that I think we need it, but a quarterback here in Hausler, who looks like he actually could be a pretty solid quarterback. There's a running back in the round 1-2. There's a top 5 player at receiver who actually looks like he could be fantastic. And that's maybe something else we could do with us now not having Jeudy, is we could just load up a lot of picks and try to get into the top 5 for someone like Terrell Betts. That's always an option. There's a tight end in Joe Dunbar. He's a true round 2 to 3 talent, but the gradings still look actually really good. And we've seen Everett start to regress a little bit. So it really narrows down what we could do if we focus solely on Marcel Cheeks. So here is what we decided to do, and we stretched the budget as much as possible. We have $3.64 million left in our cap room. We brought back Daniel Carlson. We brought in Derek Hall. Whether he's going to be a starter edge rusher for us or at least some good depth, I wanted to make sure we had some depth at that spot because we didn't quite have it. We also brought back CJ Mosley, again, depth. He also has that mentor tag. We brought back Deshaun Hand and Reed, and they are both going to have to play rush DT for us. It was the only options that we could afford, and they both have mid to upper 70s for their best pass rushing move, which is far better than the mid 60s that we had with the other DTs. So that's just what we're going to have to rock with. The team, for the most part, has stuck together. We're just going to need some position guys to step up and help cover for the lack of players that are there now. And now getting to the point where we could really truly talk about the draft. What options do we have? Again, we are slotted late in the first round, but there is that receiver in Tyrell Betts out of Auburn. He's 5'11", 212, 22 years old. He has some decent speed to his game there. I mean, overall, a solid athlete with a little bit of some strength, but the ratings all look fantastic. The hands are there, the route running is there, just across the board release. There really is not anything bad here about Betts. He has a injury. I mean, by all means, put your bets in on Betts because I feel like he would pan out really well for us. And outside of him, our other options, well, we don't need any more running backs, especially in a round 1 to 2. We have one of the best running backs in the league. Trent Hausler, while he might be a fantastic quarterback, we're coming off of a really good season with Mac Jones, so I don't think we need to go after a different quarterback. So there's a day 3 receiver, deep threat, don't think we need to go after. There is the tight end that, hey, maybe with a pick, if he's still available after the first round, we could look to go after another tight end. And then Cheeks, found out a little bit more information on him, but he's still, it's the C's and then a B. So how much of an improvement he's going to be over guys like Reed and Deshaun Hand, I'm not too sold. However, he does have a lot of strength, 37 to 40 bench reps with some pretty decent speed. He could end up panning out. He has a injury, so that's great, but the tackling, not great. Awareness, not great, but does have some play rec. Again, I think I would rather have the receiver because it's been our offense that has struggled more for us when we get to the postseason. So just getting someone else for that group maybe would help out more. There is a very intriguing mid-round linebacker here in Manny Thomas. He has a little bit of some cover skills to his game, really good block shed. We could use some depth. So if he's sitting there, we could take him. There's a really good cornerback in Brandon Kirkpatrick. Has the B zone A-man, not so much the press coverage, but again, we have guys. I don't think he would actually come in and be too much of an improvement off of them. So I think what the option probably is going to be for us is just to see if we could get up to the spot where that receiver is going to go. And if we take a look at mock draft 5, it is the Vikings who are slated to pick him up. They have Austin Hall, an edge rusher, then another edge rusher in Tavon Cleveland going top 1 and 2. So if Betts does make it to 3, maybe we could stockpile a good bit of picks, send it to the Vikings because we only have one more draft to use either way. So let's move forward with that being the plan. And it would be really nice for my team and the Vikings to help us out a little bit here, but let's see if he doesn't go before then. So getting through the first pick, the Patriots select. They do go with the left end in Austin Hall out of Kansas State. Now, they said that another edge rusher should go here. Does he end up going? Yes, it is Cleveland going to the Texans. Now, this is where that receiver was slated to go. So let's call up the Vikings and see what we can do. If we were to just ask them, what do they want? The first, well, they only have 2 options, and we're not giving them Will Anderson Jr. But the other option is this year's first round pick and second round pick, plus next year's first and second round pick, plus a 7th round pick in next year. And then to top it all off, the 2029 first round pick. Now, we're not going to be able to use the 2028 and 2029 picks. We would lose out on maybe the chance to get that tight end if we send the 2, but maybe we could take what we have left, try to trade back up. That is an option. But we're not going to do anything crazy here. We're just going to take the offer they're presenting us. We're going to send them a whole lot, but hopefully this is worth it for bets. Bringing in a top 5 receiver. We trade up to number 3, moving up 25 spots. And since Jerry Jeudy decided he didn't want to come back, we will replace him with Tyrell Betts. He is a normal dev. Come on, Madden. 90 speed, 93 acceleration, 90 agility with 87 change of direction and 89 jumping. I thought that would be a lock-in for a hidden dev. True top 5 prospect. Everything looked good. Well, we're just going to need to see him perform great right out the gates, and then he might get some development from there. But now we don't pick until late in the 4th round. And again, there was that tight end that maybe he could help us out. If we wanted to trade up for Joe Dunbar, he also could end up going well before the 2nd round. He is a round 1 to 2 projection. Talent is around 2 to 3. If we were to trade up with what we have left, which is a 4, 5, 2 6s, and a 7, we also have future draft picks we could use. Maybe we could get Dunbar. Outside of him, there was the, obviously, Cheeks. I think we covered him with the signing of Reed and Hand. Then, I think the only other option I had here for us would be Manny Thomas. So, let's get into the 2nd round. If the tight end is gone at the start of the 2nd round, then we'll know our answer. And as we get to the beginning of that 2nd round, where it's the Vikings who have the number 1 pick, and then again in a couple more spots, they've got a lot of picks, it seems like. Is the tight end still available? Go to the overall board here, and yes, the tight end is gone. So then I say we could get down to the 4th. If the linebacker is there, great. If not, fine. And we'll just go from there. So essentially BPA at our next spot, which is again late in the 4th round. Jumping all the way back to it, let's see what we have available. Well, right now there is a day 3 receiver, not something very high on our board. Getting through the offensive side, nothing there. Getting to the linebackers, they're also gone. There is a corner day 3 man-to-man, probably not going to help us out much. So there really isn't anything in this draft that I think would actually end up helping us out. So maybe we look elsewhere then. And what looks to be the best offer is to just give up all these picks for next year's 3 and a 5, and maybe that'll help us do something either right now or by the week 8 trade deadline. But for us, it ends up being a 1-player class. We trade up to spot 3 and we go after Tyrell Betts. With a little bit of some coaching boost, he's an 80 overall, so he's going to come in ready to play day 1. Again, he's just that normal dev, but taking a look at the ratings, fantastic for short, which is going to match up really well for Mac. Hands are fantastic. He has the release. Really nothing bad to look at here whatsoever. 98 injury. He should stay healthy throughout the remainder. Knock on wood, cross your fingers. All the things for good luck. Has some moves after the catch as well. I mean, all around he looks to be a solid receiver. Not exactly to the same level as Jerry Jeudy, but a pretty solid replacement. Now to take a look at our final opening day lineup. Obviously, not a whole lot changing here on the offense outside of Jerry Jeudy's absence. The one thing to take note of, we have a new running back here that we haven't talked about yet. Tank Bigsby has joined us through free agency after the preseason. Unfortunately, we had an injury to the receiver turned running back in Hutchins. He's going to miss the first 6 weeks, so we had to make a signing. And Tank Bigsby just had to be sitting there and actually fits the running back group here very well. Outside of him, we know everything that's happening. Mac Jones at quarterback, Jacobs starting running back, Smith. We're going to rock with Mechie as the other starting outside receiver. And we're going to see the rookie in Betts, as well as a little bit of Ridley as the slot receiver. Tolbert also will kind of get in the mix there. Everett and Latu, the primary tight ends. With us having Spencer, the receiver turned tight end, he's developed pretty well. So honestly, that group looking really good. Offensive line stays the exact same. Getting to the defensive side, again, not a whole lot of change here either. Only real difference is now Young in the starting defensive tackle group for just the base packages. Will Anderson Jr. and Jennings on the outside. McIntyre in the start there. The linebacker group, same starting there. We're keeping Fitzpatrick at strong for now. with Battle at free. As for the corners, McCreary and Barlow, the primary 1-2 in base packages. Luter will go out and play outside corner whenever we go to nickel or dime, and Barlow will move to slot corner. But besides that, everything pretty much exactly as it was last year. We are obviously going to have Reed and Hand be our rush DTs. We've talked about that a little bit. Mosley and Harrison Jr. are going to be our sub backers. They're our best all-around cover guys. And hopefully we just get this season off to a hot start and leave no drama for whether we're making the playoffs or not. I wanted to have the same exact thing that we had last season where we clinched the division, the playoffs, and the first round bye. Make it as easy for us as possible to get to that Super Bowl. And let's start here in week 1, getting into a little bit of a quarter sim. And with us starting this season as one of the NFL favorites to win it all, I would love to have a hot start, but it is 3-0 at the end of the first quarter with the Jaguars actually carrying the lead. Can we get a better second quarter as we actually go down 17-0? We get a touchdown before half. That is big, hopefully, for our second half, as we would need to find some more scores here, though we are down 24-7 as we enter the fourth quarter. Not sure what has gone wrong in this game. We'll definitely have to take a look at the stats to try to gauge where we just haven't. I mean, first off, there's been no offense. That one pretty easy to see, 24-7. But as the defense struggled, has there been turnovers? What is the root cause of the problem here? As we get a tackle for a loss there, then they gain 12, 3rd and 1. They get 7 to Zay Flowers. Continually marching down the field, they will widen their lead, pretty much taking all of the fourth quarter up. We will tack on a late touchdown, but that is a massive loss in week 1. And just taking a look here at the stats, we only managed 45 rushing yards in that one, 174 passing yards. Meanwhile, we only had 1 turnover. We also forced 1 turnover, so it wasn't like that was the problem either. We just couldn't get anything going. Fourth-year quarterback for the Jags in Reyes, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mac Jones, 76% completion, so we were completing passes. We just somehow weren't getting first downs. Travis Etienne, 4.8 yards a rush, did have a touchdown. Jacobs, 4 yards a rush. You get that every single down, and that's a first down. So, honestly, I have no idea how this team only managed to score twice in opening week. Our best receiver was Betts in this one. 5 catches, 66 yards, no touchdowns. Next would be Mechie. Yeah, we just really didn't get much going. Devontae Smith held to 28 yards, did have a touchdown. Everett, 16 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown. For some reason, it seemed like we just were maybe passing the ball more than we should have, and that just led to drives stalling out, even though we had good completion percentage. Just a very strange start. And to make matters worse, we would double up on the losses after week 2, 35-21. We lose to the Eagles. Now in this one, we did have 1 turnover. We did not force any turnovers. We gave up over 400 yards. Meanwhile, we were sitting around 350 ourselves, much better rushing the ball, almost 3 times the amount. Passing yards, we had more. Where is this team struggling? Completion percentage was a little bit lower in this one, but not bad. Grant, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 63%. Josh Jacobs, he averaged 10 yards a carry, but only ran the ball 9 times, did have a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins, about 4 yards a carry. And we gave up 2 touchdowns to the backup running back in Tucker. Receiving, Juju had a pretty good game. Addison, pretty good game. Reed even had a solid game. All of those guys, a first down, a catch. Mechie, our leading guy here. Terrell Betts, though, very similar numbers, and he get into the end zone. Either way, just a very weird start defensively. Are we getting any tackles for a loss here? A few. Sacks, how about that? Will Anderson getting 2.5, but he's pretty much the only one really getting back there. The interception went to Jamie Adams. How about the kicking? How is that doing? Well, apparently we didn't try any field goals in this one. And going back to the first game against the Jags, forgot to check the defensive stats. We had 1 tackle for a loss, 2 total tackles for losses in that one. Sack-wise, we had 1 from Byron Young, so that's fun to see, but just nothing much. And Tyrone Barlow did get the interception. How did the kicking go in that first one? Once again, no field goals attempted. So right now, this offense just seeming very strange. We're moving the ball. We have good average yards per carry running the ball. We're getting guys involved through the air. However, the offense isn't even getting into range to take field goals. I don't know. Very strange. We got the Cowboys, then 2 straight division rival games. So let's get through this Cowboys game and then get into the rivalry matches, at least win our division games here. But turnaround against the Cowboys would be great. But it would be an 0-3 start, 28-23. We can't even get by the Cowboys, who were at best 500 or so last year. Turnovers, none for either team. We had over 400 yards of offense. Meanwhile, they had under 300, and yet we still are not winning these games. Sam Howell, 64% completion, 2 touchdowns. Mac Jones, 1 touchdown, 66% completion. Jahmyr Gibbs had a good game against us. Good to see for him. About 4.5 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mac Jones actually carried the ball more than Josh Jacobs. Honestly, I kind of hope Jacobs was just shaken up in that game and fine moving forward. But 1 carry for him. Bigsby did not have a great game, that's for sure. And Damian Harris, nothing fancy, but he did get in the end zone. As for receiving, 11 yards, 9 catches, 99 yards. Did I say 11 yards? 11 yards per catch, 99 yards on 9 catches for Smith. Tyreek Hill got a touchdown against us. We switched those 2 receivers in the trade. Betts got another touchdown, but just for some reason, the offense not moving. Defensively, anything better here? We did not pick up a single tackle for a loss. Sack-wise, we did get 2, Wright and McIntyre, so that part is good. No interceptions. How about kicking? Did we at least attempt? We hit 3. 3 of 3, so we at least got into range there. Of course, that didn't go to help us as we lost by 5. So this has just been a very strange start to the season. Luckily, the rest of our division isn't doing great either. We actually have 3 straight divisional games, Falcons, Bucks, and then back to the Falcons. Falcons are 1-2. Panthers are 0-3, just as ourselves. The Buccaneers, they're 2-1. So if we could at least put some wins together in these stretches, that would go a really long way in trying to get us back in this fight. After starting 0-3, your chances, they start to look slim. So let's jump into this Falcons game. Start with a first half sim and then kind of go from there. We trade field goals to end the first quarter. It is 3-3. We're really expecting this offense to just light things up, but we really haven't seen it. And we don't end up with any more points there before halftime. So let's slow things down into this second half and just see if we could get a better understanding for where this team is lacking. As it starts off here, we do have possession, though knocked away by Sanford. Then 25 yards to Mechie. Well, that's good. I feel like we've maybe not been having much of the big play element to the team, or maybe it's just boom or bust style, as it's a gain of 8, leaving a 3rd and 3. We pick it up, 7 yards to Mechie. Then dropped by Betts. Didn't expect that with the ratings we've seen from him. Everett picks up 7, another 3rd and 3. We get 10, and we're down inside the red zone. So with this one, we might just take the red zone appearances here, see how well that works out for us. Need to tie this game up about mid-ish way through the 3rd as we go up for Everett, though it is through his hands. It was tight coverage, more so just because there was a jumbled up mess up there with multiple receivers and defenders. A little bit of some play action here. Dump this one off. That's Latu, who will get it down to the 5. Really our first chance getting to see him at tight end this year with Irv Smith Sr. Jr. moving on. Again, I don't know why I always want to call him Senior. Got a pistol set. Throw, we go to Everett, and that is a tied up game. Need to build off of that. Need to get the offense moving. And defense, let's make some plays as well. After starting the season 0-3, we could really use with going 4-0 these next few games. A penalty on Byron Young. That's going to be some free yards for him. Another penalty, that one on Luter. So maybe we're just shooting ourselves in the foot more often than not as we give up 3, leaving 3rd and 7. Thrown away by Hunt. Is it field goal range? No, they do punt. A great chance here to, one, just let the clock roll a little bit, but also take a lead. 1st and 10, we rush with Mac Jones, gain of 5. Then we go back to the running game. Jacobs picks up 2, another 3rd and 3, but we pick it up 6 yards to Mechie. But we've gone his way fairly often, as well as Everett. as he picks up 11. Penalty on Jaleel Whitfield gets us down to the red zone. So maybe the team just wanted us to jump in a little bit more here. Save the splashy plays for the shorts, you never know. Got a tight set here, single back set, we hand it off Jacobs, just no room there. Now we do have a pretty solid offensive line. By solid, I mean it's actually a really good offensive line. I don't think we have a starter outside of center that's below a 77. You would expect a little bit more room made here on these runs, and honestly with Josh Jacobs, you expect him to make some room if there isn't. 99 overall. Can't quite say we've seen that. As we hit the fourth quarter here, it is 3rd and 8. 10-10 ball game. And with just a preview of those stats there, it looks like, once again, we've been the better team. We're just not scoring. Need to do so here again with that 3rd and 8. We go with a run for Jacobs, and he will pick up 8. Make it actually a gain of 10. If we could do that on 3rd, why can't we do that on 1st and 2nd? Maybe that will get the offense moving a little bit more smoothly, as that's Betts in motion. Fake the jet sweep, back to Jacobs, and back to a gain of only 2. Maybe this team just only feels like they could do something when their backs are up against a wall. I don't know. 2nd and goal. We got 2 up top, 2 tight ends down the bottom. We hand it off back to Jacobs, and that will be a diving score for the lead. Now we just need the defense to hold on to it. 17-10, as it's a 3rd and 2 pretty quickly here, and they will gain 3 with DeAndre Swift, just enough. Then a gain of 7 goes to JoJo Steffen. Then TFL loss of 3, 3rd and 6, but they get 9 going back to JoJo. So a little bit of some plus, a little bit of some minus, but ultimately they're moving the ball. Gain of 4 leaves 3rd and 4, 28 yards. That's a big switch down to the red zone. So now can we see our defense make some plays here? Not seeing much in terms of sacks, though I feel like, at least by the way that the lines are moving, it's a lot of great play up top by McCreary. But what I was gonna say was a lot of maybe some shorter passes. You're not seeing a whole lot of yards come through the air, at least on any single down. Pretty good start to that run stuff, but they still end up gaining 4. I believe it was Jennings who got back there, disrupted the flow, but we just didn't have anyone else there to help get the stop. 3rd and 6, they're throwing towards the end zone and off the mark from their receiver. A little bit too tall. That will be a field goal attempt or no. Offense stays out there. They're looking for the tie. 3 up top, 1 down below. About 3.5 minutes left in the game. Hunt throws it away. You would have been better taking the 3 points there. But for us, that's fantastic. It gets our offense out here, and we need to run the ball, chew the clock, walk out of here with a win. As we go with the play action, that is not what we were looking for, but we'll pick up the yardage. That'll help. It'll end up being Mechie's 5th catch of the day, and I've told him to start chewing clock, so that is what we're going to do moving forward. RPO, though, we swing it out to Everett. We'll pick up 7. That is his 8th catch, so those two definitely seem to be the primary targets so far this season. I formation here, 2nd and 3 with 1 play left before the 2-minute. It is just blown up right off the get-go. And that was Jonah Williams who just didn't secure the block, and he's been probably the most troublesome of our offensive linemen. 3rd and 3, we don't get it. With such a good offensive line, and again, Josh Jacobs at running back, you've got to be able to pick up a 1st down here. Instead, we punt it away, and the Falcons, they still have an opportunity. It's just going to come under 2 minutes left. 2 timeouts remaining for them. We have 3 if we need it, which hopefully we don't. As they start with a throw, dumping this one off to Swift, who gets just splatted back as Andrew McLean injured. One of their offensive linemen will utilize their 2nd timeout. So for them, just all around bad, only a gain of 3 and have to call a timeout early. You kind of want to save those until later on. Setting up the halfback screen, it does slip by, and Swift patiently trying to find some space. Will not get the 1st down. He ended up taking too many steps backwards. They say 3rd and inches, though clearly that ball is past the line to gain. But I'll take it as they're going deep downfield and off the hands of the intended target. Luter knocks it away. That's now twice they've tried to go after Jamar Chase, and he just hasn't been able to bring it in. 4th and inches, though, yet again. That ball past where it needs to be. They'll hand it off and will easily pick that one up as now Dom Scott injured. Potential tight end, perhaps? Might end up just being a little bit of some cramps, but it does call their final timeout, so no longer can they stop the clock without getting out of bounds, but they pick up a big chunk there, maybe to the backup coming in to replace the former injured player. Couldn't tell you. Either way, it's 1st and 10 past midfield. As Hunt with a clean pocket here, though it starts to collapse, we get a hit in on him, but he throws it away. And that's probably one of my favorite things with this series. I always say clean pocket, then as soon as I do, just immediately pass rush shows up. 2nd and 10. Pass rush once again forcing the roll, and rinse and repeat, throw away. If we could just get one of these to be a sack, if not a sack fumble, that would be fantastic. 3rd and 10. They got 3 up top, 1 below. As they do find their target, that is number 4 down to the 20. Couldn't tell you who number 4 is. Either way, it's a big play for them. It's not Jamar Chase. That I know for sure. Hunt going up top, has the target. Gain of 9 and out of bounds. 15 seconds left. Again, no way they could stop the clock without getting out of bounds. A tackle inbounds would win this game. Hard count, no one jumps. Hunt from the pocket. Going out of the back of the end zone. He felt the rush coming in. But what we need stays the same. Tackle inbounds here, whether it's in the backfield, just anywhere prior to the goal line, as that ball is snapped and immediately thrown out the back. Now 4th and 1. 7 seconds remain in this rivalry matchup, and they need a touchdown to send it to OT. Hunt from the pocket. Good blocking. They dump it off for Swift. We come crashing down, and there we go. We pick up our first win of the season. We made it more difficult than it needed to be. But for some reason, our high-powered offense has not scored more than 21 points in either of our first 3 games. And with that win, we're jumping straight into the next rivalry game, as both teams score a touchdown in that first half. So it's just a lot of even play from both sides, as it looks like we get a turnover, score off of it, and do not end the first half with any more points. And that looked like it should have been a promising end there. Instead, 14-14 now. As we drive down, we get a touchdown, but then immediately give up a touchdown. We just can't take a game solely in charge. Luckily, as we start this 4th quarter, we have possession. 21-21, we start 8 yards to Mechie. 4 yards, Josh Jacobs picks up the first down. 11 to Everett. We have so many weapons. Our offense should just be unstoppable. Luckily, though, if we do get any more points in this game, we will finally get by that 21 mark, as we get 14 yards to Mechie, down to the 14. Just need to make sure we take care of our side and let the defense take care of theirs. As we hand this one off, Jacobs with a lead blocker. Jonah Williams with a big decleater, though Jacobs already by him by the time that block came in. Either way, I'm going to take it. Hopefully that'll lift his play for the future. 2nd and 1 down to the 5. As we got 3 receivers down to the bottom, 1 up top. With a quick throw, nearly picked off and arguably should have been. Luckily, they just swatted away. Leaves us with 3rd and 1. A bunch down to the bottom. We will throw. Mac Jones down to the bottom, and picking up the first down, though not much, is the fullback who just matrixed up to his feet. All right, Ron Bailey. You do you, I guess. Hey, you're a Pro Bowl fullback, so sure. Yeah, you could do that. 1st and goal, quick throw, and we find Mechie with the touchdown that time. We get it by the corner, and we retake yet again another lead. Now, can we hold it? There is just over 3 minutes left. The Buccaneers start back at the 25. Picking up 10 yards to Bateman, though not a first down. 2nd and inches, then a TFL on Barkley leaves 3rd and 3. And we only give up 1. 4th and 2. Do they punt or do they go for it? The Buccaneers pick up 10 with Saquon Barkley. Keeping their hopes alive here, knocked away by Marcus Battle, getting his first year as a true starter. They then find Tutu Atwell with a gain of 11 as we hit the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 10, they pick up 6, leaving 3rd and 4, they get 7. Back to 2-2 Atwell. 1st and 10, back to 2-2, gain of 4. Under a minute and a half, sitting around a minute. Probably a good spot to jump in after this play. 3rd and inches, they get the first. And I think as I was jumping in to watch the remainder here, I think I caught a glimpse of an injury. I want to say it said Barlow, or one of our top corners, as they immediately go with a throw, though off the mark. That one kind of found a soft spot in between several different targets. One over the top, one underneath, so couldn't tell you who it was going for. As they look down to the bottom, a big hit, big shoulder comes in from Battle, leaves 3rd and 4. They have 2 timeouts remaining. They do elect not to use one there. As we're sitting around 20 seconds left, Parks throwing towards the end zone and tipped away. Luter once again makes the play, as once again we're sitting up 7 points at the end of one of these games, but on our own doorstep here. As Parks throws, he has his guy, 2-2 Atwell. Cover guy there just ran by him. Just as simple as that. Though for some reason the Buccaneers are not happy tying. They're looking to take a lead here, and we pick up a big stop. That's going to force this into an onside attempt. What were the Buccaneers thinking? Did they hire Dan Campbell? I don't know, but we pick it up, and that should be the win. And that puts us into our 3rd division game against the Falcons, but considering we just watched them, we will sim on through it, and I really hope we keep this win streak alive. But the boys just wouldn't be able to get it done, and it came through a 21-point comeback from the Falcons, and they win 38-34. I don't know what is up with this team right now. There's not that big of a difference between previous year, where we were fantastic, to this year. We're missing a couple players, but nothing that dramatic, though the play has been dramatically different. All of these games close. None of them are blowouts. Hunt in this one, 78% completion, 4 touchdowns. Jones sitting around the same. So we're moving, but we're also just not making the big plays. 5.8 yards for Jacobs. Receiving-wise, Devontae Smith, 137 yards, 1 touchdown. Betts, 101, 2 touchdowns. We give up a better game to Chase in this one, but still, the team is just all over the place right now. Going to the defensive side, Will Anderson had 2 tackles for loss. He also had a sack. We picked up a couple other tackles for loss throughout. Anyone else get some sacks? Yeah, McIntyre getting some sacks. Interceptions, though none, obviously, in this one. We saw that earlier. How was the kicking game? Carlson, 100%. We just gave up a lot, it seemed like, in the 4th quarter. Not sure what changes we could do outside of making a trade, and maybe a trade will be necessary by the week 8 deadline. But let's at least get through week 7 here and see where we lie moving into the next episode. And it is not looking good right now. Once again, we give up 21 points in the 4th quarter. Up to that point, we held them to 3 points. Though we end up losing 24-13, the offense is not scoring. So we've got to do something to shake up that offense. Maybe move some receivers around. Maybe that'll help. Josh Jacobs, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Same for Patrick Mahomes in this one. Like, neither offense seemingly did all too great. Must have all come through the running game late on. I don't know. All around, it's just been an awful start here for us. Luckily, though, the rest of our division is not doing all too well either. Tackles for a loss, we had 2 from Jennings, 2 for Barlow, so it doesn't seem like his injury was long-term. Deshaun Hand had 2 tackles for a loss. What about sacks? We had 1. That's great, I guess. Interceptions, Darren Luter. Kicking, 100% for Carlson. So just a very strange start. We have not picked up a win in any games that we've just straight up simmed. We have the Panthers that will start off next episode. And it's looking like we might have to make a trade for the defense. The only spot I could think of would be maybe trying to bring back a defensive lineman for us. We'll take a quick look at the stats, see where we're at. 9th ranked offense, though we're just not scoring. Defensively, we're 24th. Yeah, kind of expected that we're struggling there. Mac Jones, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 70% completion. Very just field general numbers here. As for Jacobs, 5.5 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns, no fumbles for him. We're just not getting the ball in the end zone as much as we should, considering the talent that we have. Sack-wise, not great out the get-go, but nothing awful. In terms of tackles for a loss, 8 for Will Anderson, 6 for Jennings. But yes, the defense tackles, they're just not quite doing a whole lot. Sack-wise, Will Anderson Jr., pretty good start, 5.5 sacks, but no one else really getting involved. We only have 2 turnovers forced. Kicking-wise, though, again, it's 100% for Carlson when we get into range, and his long of the season is 52. So moving into next episode, obviously we've got to shake up this roster a little bit. So let's just take a couple minutes here to see what we could do. And really, for the offense, it only comes down to these receivers. So right now, we have Devontae Smith and Mechie on the outside. Perhaps, at least at the start of next episode, maybe we give Betts that opportunity on the outside. He's going to have better release than Mechie, or even Calvin Ridley could play on the outside. Going to be a little bit taller than both Mechie and Betts. Maybe that would help out a little bit. Put Betts in the slot. We'll definitely have to shake up that receiver group, see what ends up working out best for us. And the other spot, I think, is maybe we just need some better defensive linemen. Just someone down the middle to make some big plays. And that means trading for a player that just left. And in true fashion for today's sports world, Jonathan Allen went to the Giants, the team that knocked us out of the playoffs, and went on to win the Super Bowl. Now, could we make a trade to bring back Allen? Well, they're saying no. We don't have a lot of cap space, so we would have to clear about $5 million in cap to bring in Allen, and maybe he would spark something with this defense. We've got a whole lot of picks we could try to use. We don't have a first rounder until 2023, but hey, we could use that. We're definitely going to have to start next episode looking into this and seeing if we could bring in Jonathan Allen, and maybe that will just help elevate this team. Stop giving up 21 points in the fourth quarter. That one's pretty simple. That's something we've got to figure out a way to stop. But that will do it for us for this one. Again, sorry we're not getting through the entirety of this regular season in one. Just a little bit under the weather. Maybe you could tell a little bit, maybe not. If you can't, great. If you can, well, it is what it is. But we will finish off the rest of the regular season next episode on Saturday. Now, at 2-5, clearly you're not thinking playoffs, though luckily the best team in our division right now are the Buccaneers. They are 3-3. We beat them in our first matchup. We face them in week 10 after the week 9 bye. If we could get a win here against the Panthers, if they lose in week 9 and we could get a win in week 10, we're again right back into at least making it through winning the division. That's all we have to do. We've just got to get back to the playoffs no matter what way we do it. So make sure you stick around, hit that bell icon on the bottom right, or scroll down and hit the sub button. They both do the exact same thing. You can also hit the bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. This series every single Wednesday and Saturday. And then we have the traditional Panthers franchise every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you guys got content coming all the time. I hope you're enjoying, and hopefully this team comes ready to play next time out. Otherwise, it could be a disastrous end to the Alabama State-only challenge despite all the promise that we've had.